Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Right then, let's get on with it. Where was your honeymoon? What
I
happened?
didn't have one. I got married in the middle of the season.
Why?
Oh, good planning.
Why not?
Well, because then you didn't have time for a honeymoon. Oh.
We got it's the way it worked out. I got married in London.
Yes.
And that was the only time when I could get all the people down from Scotland and blah blah blah. So
Okay.
it was during a break.
Okay.
There wasn't a game that weekend.
Okay.
Obviously, so I
Yes.
got married the weekend.
Right.
There wasn't an international because I would have been playing in it.
Oh, all right.
I can't remember where it was.
All right, big
Can't
time.
remember where it was.
Jules, where was your honeymoon?
In the Maldives.
Let me tell you. Muppet journos, eh? the posh honeymoon.
Yeah, who's the Muppet now? Let me tell you, she's had many honeymoons.
Well, I imagine when you go away.
yeah. When I go on a golf trip.
Exactly. Yeah. Off you go. Good. Ali?
Well, I was in the middle of getting my residency papers, so I couldn't leave the country. But we went to New Orleans.
Oh.
And then drove to Destin, Florida, sort of a beachfront property.
That's a big drive for newlyweds. How long was that?
It's from New Orleans to Destin. It's about a 3-hour drive.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
all
right.
right.
Well, but when you're newlywed, you've got things to talk about.
I know.
As opposed to years later.
Brake lights are on. They're braking in front of you. Have you seen the cyclist?
Things take a different turn later on in the month.
Oh, I don't know why you have to drive so close to the curb. Right, anyway, Ronaldo announced, this is more of a you question than these two, Jules. Ronaldo announced that
They were going to call us Muppets there.
Ronaldo announced that the Ronaldo-Messi rivalry was finally over. Who was the third best player of the Ronaldo-Messi generation?
Boy.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that rivalry lasted so long, you can't just pick one because nobody had their longevity to start with.
No.
So I guess Mo Salah towards the end of it was probably right up there when he was on fire. I guess maybe Kevin De Bruyne at times, finished third.
Yeah.
There was probably a bit of Xavi or Iniesta at some point too. I think it's hard maybe to just pick one. But yeah, you had those players who were very good, but just not at the level of those two incredible players.
Didn't Ibrahimovic just see
Zlatan.
Didn't Zlatan just see the whole start to finish of their careers as well?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be in that conversation certainly during that whole time span, for sure.
How about Neymar? The best of Neymar.
Yeah, the best of Neymar, yeah. And you can take it all the way back to, that sort of time.
Yeah, not a lot, yeah. By the way, that was the shortest ever show today ever, wasn't it?
Why?
Shortest ever. Shortest.
You're okay.
It was quite a short show, yeah.
It was a very short show today, yeah.
Pete was in my ear going, let's talk about the depth of the French squad.
That man needs to get home.
For Ali.
Producer, that is. Producer, he's obviously not. There's a man that never went on a honeymoon, right?
They went to Hawaii, I think. I remember
Hawaii?
they went to Hawaii for the honeymoon.
Oh.
There we go. This is quite into the conversation.
Producer, I bet they went separately, didn't they? Separate hotels. Hey. He said to his wife on the honeymoon, let's talk about the depth of the French squad.
He said they didn't sit together on the flight out. She booked
That's about right. She booked his seats. Yeah. He was on a different flight.
For Ali.
Did he take his squash racket?
Oh, and he was smacking that gum too in the plane.
Yeah.
For Ali, with the World Cup expanding to 48 teams, does Venezuela finally make a World Cup? No.
100%.
Oh, yeah?
Why are you so surprised?
So, top how many now from CONMEBOL?
6.5.
Oh, Ali, you're still struggling.
I know, it's a
How many
struggle. But wait, if I don't believe, who's gonna believe?
Wait, how many from CONCACAF? With like Canada, Mexico,
I don't,
US?
don't get me started on that.
Is it
Please
3
don't
or
get me
4?
started.
No, yeah, but it's already those three are qualified because
Yes.
they're the hosts.
Yes.
So then you go right down to the like.
We'll host it.
Yes, Venezuela needs to.
We'll host it.
It's almost as if, Shaka, for example, Trinidad and Tobago has probably a better chance of qualifying to the World Cup than we do.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Wow.
Vamos, Venezuela!
Hang on. What was the biggest humbling you ever received in a game? Wow. That's quite a wide-ranging topic.
Humbling. Defeat, you mean?
Defeat, maybe a personal humbling.
Very humble guy.
Well, when Brazil, when they rolled out the team that had Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and whoever else.
Scotland held to 2-1.
Well, I know. I was there at that stadium.
Wow.
I was watching.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was a hell of a team.
Yeah. And
Scotland, that is.
And
Shall I name you the Brazil team?
No.
Taffarel,
Oh, God, every
Cafu,
time.
Roberto Carlos, Julio Cesar,
Every time, Jules, we've got to hear this.
Dunga, Rivaldo,
I know.
Ronaldo, Bebeto.
Yeah. You just go out there and just thinking,
well, I mean, I just give you the context. Then, who are we rolling out there? Me?
well, Juan Arango?
Well, and me?
There you go.
And I mean, what it is the same. The same happens with Argentina. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't compete. It doesn't mean that you can't get a result. But you know that if those guys are at their best, there isn't a whole lot that you can do.
Yeah.
And you just see it once they start flowing and once they start knocking the ball around. You're like, oh, that's different. That's a different level.
Yeah.
I thought I could play. That's different level.
When you were at Derby, what was the heaviest defeat that you had?
5-0 at Borough, I believe.
Borough.
Yeah, not early on under Jim. This was late.
Right.
We beat Borough 4-1. Musty played. Well, he was out there. And that was when Brian Robson was manager. Oh, he was getting pelters.
Yeah.
Because we'd beat them. And then we went back up there a couple of years later. Jim had been sacked, Jim Smith, and we were terrible. I was captain. We got beat 5 and I took the blame.
Right.
Basically, from the punters.
Well, deservedly so.
Because there's a lot of youngsters.
Yeah, you-
Danny Higginbottom.
You deserved the blame.
Yeah, I took it. I shouldered
well
it. There was a lot of youngsters. Malcolm Christie, Chris Riggett.
As captain, you should have been more of a leader.
Seth
more of a
Johnson,
role model to
Danny
these kids.
Higginbottom. All these boys were youngsters. So
A lot of people being thrown under the bus right now.
Yes. I took the responsibility, but we had all
But
these
how about
rubbish
this guy?
youngsters.
No, I didn't say they were rubbish. I said they were inexperienced. Rory Delap,
Yes, I know. Right. Well,
a few foreigners.
oh, the
dropped in.
foreigners, get them, the youngsters.
We did, trust me. From where I'd been to who I'd played for before, we did not have a good side.
Ask Craig
Oh right.
if he faced Roy Keane on the pitch and if any player was tougher than Keane in terms of retribution, tackles, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I played against Roy. Yeah, Man United, Chelsea, FA Cup, League. Yeah, I got on all right with Roy. I never looked at Roy or anybody else like that.
Okay.
It didn't. But listen, a player will know if you're scared. Why would I be scared of any other midfielder?
Right.
I'm going out there and there's a 50-50. Like when I played against England, and I was directly up at that game. Both when I played against Liverpool with Celtic and England with Scotland, it was Paul Ince. Nobody's taking a back step. It's not. You don't think like that.
Okay.
You don't. You just don't. You're playing for Chelsea at the time. It's Man United. You don't look and go, oh, it's not fourth tier football against it. You don't think like that. I'm not saying Roy was a tough player. So was Patrick Vieira. So was Paul Ince and others. But there's a 50-50 there. Somebody's getting hurt. That's just the way it is.
I see.
So there's no. All this stuff you see on the touch lines with these players is all. You ever seen a punch thrown?
Not many, do you?
No, it's not.
It's just all.
It's not like that. Although Roy did stamp on a few people.
Oh, well.
To be fair,
Yes, exactly.
Gareth Southgate
His
and
dad will know that, won't he?
yeah, Alfie Haaland. It's not really like that, to be honest.
I'm being told that Jules has got some problems with his. Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
So I'll make it.
It's called fullback.
Well, no, because he doesn't have his earpods, so he has to have it on speaker. Anyway, shut up, Dan.
Yeah.
Right, Jules, are you confident to beat Dan in fantasy this season?
I don't know if you started well. I haven't looked at your rankings in our beefy league, so I don't know if you've done well. I mean, you were so lucky last season. Surely that luck has run out. So yeah, I'm very confident that I will beat you actually, because my game is more structured than you. You follow your gut feelings, and again, you were so lucky last season that it surely cannot last another season.
How many people are in this, do you reckon? Is it
In the fantasy overall in the world, like 12 million.
What league are you in?
So we're in a special league which is like 110.
And I'm hearing that you are quite a way down this league.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
This is what we've been told.
Well, I don't believe everything.
You're kind of playing the role of Everton.
Wow. No, definitely not.
You're 92nd, I've been told.
Well, maybe 92nd, I don't know.
92nd out of 110, that's pretty bad, Dan.
I made a mistake in bringing Raheem Sterling. That was a mistake. I thought that he was going to carry me after his fine start to the season.
So is that how you make your decisions? Like Jules said, you follow your gut feeling?
Yeah, of course, I think so. I work in the industry, Ali. I know a thing or two.
How do you squeeze this into a very busy week?
Well, I don't know, Craig Burley.
What day is it? When do you do this? When does it have to be in by? Remember we used to do the one here? It was actually okay for a couple of years. It wasn't not to do with
It's
ESPN.
exactly the same.
It was not to do with ESPN. It was...
It's the same one.
Is it Russinol's?
Yes.
Russinol's?
Yes, yeah.
Exactly. Tony's?
Yes.
Still Tony's?
Well, no, now Cajal's taken over. This is very interesting as well.
Antonio Rusino and Cajal. Get a shout out.
Yeah.
It's International Week.
Yeah.
What are we doing now? For Jules, do you think Arteta can conquer Havertz? What a phrase.
Conquer him over the head.
So, I mean, again, I think he needs a bit more time, Havertz, to get used to the way they played, for example. And it might not look like this is much, but he's played with 4 different left backs so far this season. He had Tomiyasu playing there, he had Timber playing there, he had Zinchenko playing there, he had Kivio playing there. So this is not helping when you play on that left-hand side and you've got a different left back behind you every single time with different profiles almost. So I think he will get there. Arteta is convinced that he's got enough talent to get used to that number 8 position and do well. He's good at training. Yes, in the games he lacks a lot, and I know Craig has not been impressed at all. But he still there's a ball against Fulham that Martinez should have scored that would have been an assist. That chance he missed against United. But Arteta is happy with him, and I think he brings a lot of balance to this team too. Let's not forget this is a midfield that is being rebuilt in a way with the arrival of Rice and Havertz, so he needs a bit of time too, even for Rice and for Odegaard to get used to it. But I think he will come good.
Oh, some optimism.
Very optimistic.
Yes. Do you share that optimism?
Not particularly.
In life or just with Havertz?
Well, actually, yeah, probably a bit of both. No, look, I don't know what to say about this boy because he's clearly a talented player. I remember him playing for Leverkusen and he looked a player. But that's gone now, unfortunately, and I think there is a lot of scar tissue from his time at Chelsea. And I think there is some early scar tissue from the questions being asked of his performances early season at Arsenal. But I keep hearing the same, and Jules, mate, I keep hearing this time thing. How do you buy yourself time if the results start to turn badly when Man City are going to be charging away out into the blue yonder?
Where is that, the blue yonder?
Well, it's a long way away. Somewhere you could take out your wife on a honeymoon.
Yes.
That's the difficult for me. That's the difficulty with Havertz, to be quite honest with you.
Ali, what's the toughest away ground you've played at on international duty?
Altitude in La Paz. You can't breathe. So that's a problem.
Right.
You know.
So explain to people who don't know.
Well, you don't people not breathing.
Well, they don't know where La
Struggle for
Paz
breath.
is. Maybe some people don't know where La Paz is.
Well,
I don't.
I don't
Well, there you
know.
are.
Well, and it's not only in La Paz too. And when you play in Quito in Ecuador as well, and the problem when you play in Quito is that you're playing against a better team in Ecuador than Bolivia is in La Paz. Regardless, in both places you just can't breathe. And the feeling, if I could explain it to somebody that hasn't quite experienced this, is when you get tired in a game, you usually you sort of catch your second wind.
Right.
When you're in one of these places, you spend the whole 90 minutes trying to catch your second wind. So you're always just like, that sort of, and can't quite breathe correctly and feel like you're always gasping for air.
So like Stevie when he walks upstairs to bed.
Correct. Exactly, that sort of feeling. And so your lungs are burning, you can't think, your legs don't do the things that your brain is telling them to do, so it becomes very difficult to play in that sort of setting. And I would stress this. Even though Quito's not as high as La Paz, Quito's more difficult because you're playing in altitude against better players. And those guys are just flying and playing at a different pace entirely than you are, and it makes it very, very challenging.
What about you?
What? I've never played at altitude.
What about
I'd like to have played at altitude.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd like to have experienced that. The ball goes further, doesn't it?
Yes, it
There
does.
you are. Yeah, that's like the golf shots, isn't it? You go further and higher up.
Yeah.
The hardest place you brought, what was the question? The toughest away ground you played on international duty?
International duty? I don't know. Wembley,
Oh, yeah?
Brussels.
What's wrong with Brussels?
What do you mean? We got beat.
Well, I'm sure you got beat quite a few places, didn't
We
you?
got beat 2-0 in Brussels.
Okay.
One last point about La Paz. They do this, and I know that they do it on purpose. When you walk into the locker room at the stadium in La Paz, they have oxygen tanks right there lined up.
Right.
Almost as if to say, you're going to need this.
Do they have oxygen in there? Are they empty?
Huh?
Are they empty?
No. No. It's like there's oxygen tanks lining up. And now you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
what chance do we have?
St Etienne,
Lost there.
hate it.
Is that where you got sent off?
I got sent off, and 6 months before the World Cup, we played France in a friendly, and I may have tripped up Zinedine Zidane
Oh.
for a penalty.
That's it.
So I may have
Wow.
dangled a leg.
I see.
So I had this thing about this ground, St Etienne. I just don't.
Okay.
You know, certain players have certain grounds.
Yes.
Bad memories.
Yeah.
I had bad memories from me, and then I went back to play Morocco, and I got sent off. I don't
bad.
like the city either.
No, that's fair enough.
It's a very. It's a. What can I
Industrial.
say? It's a very industrial city.
How come you saw the city?
Man of the people,
Well, you
mate.
got sent off. Something to do. A little wander around. Well, it's a very industrial
Well, it was
place.
2-0, got a cup of tea, left the stadium, had a walk around, came back, thought it was 3-0. But I'm going to cop the blame for that.
That was it.
No, I just bad memories from that ground, you know.
Jules, this is tricky. Who has been the most overrated Ballon d'Or winner of all time?
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, again, we can go a long, long time ago because the Ballon d'Or is quite old, and go back to the 50s and look at, I don't know, someone like Stanley Matthews, for example. Was he really the best player in the world at a time where it was only for European players and things like that? I know he was your idol growing up, Dan, because you're that old, but I'm not sure if really Stanley Matthews at the time was. But anyway, I think if you get closer to us, and before the Messi and Cristiano era, of course, and domination, the years where there was not a World Cup, so the 2001 and Michael Owen, you could look at it, was he really the best player in the world? Nedved, you could look at it, was he really the best player in the world? Even in 06 when Cannavaro won it.
Yeah.
I know Italy won the World Cup, but was he really the best player in the world over the whole year? I'm not so sure, but we should not devalue it. People were voted for those players. They won it. It was a great day for them, and the achievement was wonderful. So I don't think nobody really didn't deserve it per se, but you can always look at it and say, okay, maybe on that season, it was someone who maybe was better than the ones who actually ended up winning the Ballon d'Or.
That's what happens when you get Muppet journalists voting for it.
There you go. Benzema, Jules, give us that.
Oh.
I mean, Lewandowski have won it.
Oh, that's so mean. For you, a Madridista as well, that's really mean.
Was it 3 years ago or something? Lewandowski really should have won it.
Yeah, it was COVID. That was when they
Yeah.
decided to cancel it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, they cancelled it?
Yeah, nobody wanted that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got your way. They shut the doors.
Well, I don't, you know. Yeah, anyway.
To Craig, start, bench or sell?
Yep.
The Mbappe saga, the PGMOL show about VAR, or the Ballon d'Or awards?
Okay.
Wow.
Here we go.
That's good.
Mbappe saga, PGML. So what scenario? The worst one?
Yeah, the one that you would never want to talk about again.
The Mbappe saga.
The Mbappe's gone, dropped.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay, all right.
Done with that.
The VAR show with Howard Webb, or the
No, the Ballon d'Or is benched.
Okay. And
I'll take the VAR show.
Yeah,
'cause we can always sit and have giggles at these referees.
have giggles. When have you lost that giggles about anything?
When I think of you, I think giggles.
Yeah, giggles.
Very giggly.
Giggles. Giggles about the referee.
You've seen Craig giggling over there again. You know
Giggly
what-
personality, yes.
Giggles about the referee.
He's such an old.
Every some Clattenburg comes on this show and his stupid Wi-Fi. With his 24 hours notice for an answer.
Jules, what is the percentage chance that Mbappe ends up at Liverpool, especially if Liverpool sells Salah?
Just told you the Mbappe saga.
Well,
It's done.
it's almost as if this has just been put in here to bait you. Jules?
Percentage in that case, I don't know. Real Madrid are still the outstanding favourite, of course, for next summer already. I think Liverpool have a case to put forward, especially if Kylian is a free agent. I think, like we said before, every big club in England should go for him and talk to him, present a project, and then he will choose where he feels like it's the best for him, Liverpool included. But his mum is a big fan of Liverpool. He likes Liverpool. He likes what Liverpool have done under Jurgen Klopp. So I think they have maybe a little head start, not to Real Madrid, but to maybe other English clubs compared to City, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, whatever, Spurs. So that's good for them. Now they will still a lot of money to pay his wages, plus potentially signing on fee if he was a free agent. So there's a lot that comes on. But I think if they have the money or some sort of proposal for him, he will certainly listen.
For all with Stevie. Will Stevie make it back to the US, or is he stuck with his expired US passport?
Well, he'll make it back, but he might not make it in.
Stevie, of course, is in England at the moment, went to the airport, his US passport was expired. Luckily, he had his UK passport. There's concern about whether or not he's going to get back into the country on an expired US passport.
It's quite funny.
Well, of course, it's very Stevie.
So, here's a scenario. Let's look at the scenarios.
Right.
He's travelled to the UK on his UK passport, so
Yes.
the entry is simple.
Yep.
If he travelled back on his British passport here, he would have to present some sort of visa to get in.
Yes.
Which, as we know, he does not have.
No.
What he does have is a very old American passport.
Yes.
Black and white picture.
Which they won't let him on the flight with because it's expired. Oh. So this is going to be fun.
Look at you loving all this. Look, giggling again.
No, I've got a picture of him in a sleeping bag at Bradley or Boston Airport. Immigration not letting him in.
Just abandoned there.
But if there was somebody in our group that is equipped to handle the situation and find a solution,
Yeah, exactly.
he's the one. Or not.
Well, we've discussed this quite a lot. Ali, why is it okay for Ten Hag to call out Sancho, but Sancho defending himself seems to be vilified?
The problem that Sancho has is that he hasn't played well. That's always a trump card. If you're playing well and you can use that as your defense mechanism, and the manager calls you out for whatever reason, you can say, hey, look at what I've done. But when he says, hey, look at what I've done, there's nothing to hang on to. And so that's why, as a player, you have very little to gain in getting in a back and forth. This is not something you're going to win, because the fans who would be the ones that would be supporting you,
yes,
and that could potentially have you win in the court of public opinion, well, the fans are not exactly happy with you. And so if they're going to take a side, they're going to take Ten Hag's side, and that's why Sancho has very little space here, wiggle room, to find any way out or to win this particular conversation with Ten Hag.
In all fairness to Ten Hag, we talked about. You're right. We talked about this. We can look at his ridiculous statements on refereeing decisions and angles. We can look at his team selection, his tactics, but where he's been quite consistent. He called out Harry Maguire. He called out Marcus Rashford, by the way, and left him out. He called out Ronaldo. Why would he go off the rails and call out a player if it wasn't the case? To give himself more problems. We talked about that. When he's already shown himself to be fair to him, a guy that has called out some bigger stars than Jadon Sancho. So it looks to me as if this one is completely all on the player.
Juls, I'm going to give you some names and tell me where they're going to go. They're free agents at the moment. David De Gea.
Okay. Good one. It's one of those where I think a club might have to go for a keeper if their keeper gets injured, a bit like what we saw with Courtois, and then bringing on Kepa. That De Gea, by the way, could have got that job if he had not wanted a long-term contract. So it's probably like that. I would say at some point someone in Spain will need a goalkeeper, maybe like a Sevilla or someone like that. So let's go for Sevilla with a De Gea, Sergio Ramos reunion.
Jesse Lingard.
I'm sure like there's a club in Cyprus that probably be where he'd be good enough for it. I'm only kidding. I think. I know.
Just because you're here for
I think West Ham might offer him. West Ham might offer him like a little way out with a short-term like small contract. Whether he takes it or not, it's a different matter. But he's not even in the discussion for a lot of clubs. Not even in England, not in Europe. So it'd be difficult for him.
And Eden Hazard.
Oh, hello.
I mean, so Torgan Hazard, his brother, signed for Anderlecht, and I think Anderlecht.
I saw. Did you see the picture, Juls, of his presentation?
Yeah.
Why? So he's here, and his legs couldn't be wider open.
Who's?
Torgan Hazard.
Okay.
It's a very strange picture. Sorry, Jules. I went off. I saw that, and I thought, why did they choose that picture? It's very strange. Anyway.
Yeah, it is a bit. And I think their dream is maybe to attract Eden as well and have the two Hazard brothers play together. But right now, with September, he has not done much, trust me, in the summer and now. So I don't really want to say, but it looks more like retirement than anything else. But maybe the Anderlecht and playing with his brother might want to do that. So let's say Anderlecht. To be kind to him.
To be fair to Eden Hazard, he hasn't done much in a while.
No.
Not just this summer.
Fair enough.
I dread to think how many pies he's had.
Or the equivalent.
Oh, there we are.
He's
rich enough.
He's been quaffing away for months now. I mean, properly like shoveling it down.
You don't know. He may not be.
No, I think I'm a pretty good judge when it comes to. My eyes are not that bad yet. Maybe you can go and play for Cumnock Juniors.
Oh yeah.
I can let Talbot. I'm a few
Now we're
junior
going to Scotland now.
Right back, yeah. But this picture, it got me intrigued. I don't want to. I'm not even going to look now.
Okay, don't look. Okay, I'll find it for you.
Well, why would you do that?
I have no idea. It was such a weird picture. Right. Can we get a live watch along with Craig the next time Howard Webb does his VAR audio show? Would you be up for that?
Yeah, but as Jules mentioned the other day, it's all very well if you come out the day after the game straight away, 24 hours later, and we have an audio of a ridiculous decision, then we can piece it together. That's different. It's different than coming out and having a month later and then being very selective. That's all I thought that was, very selective, and it really doesn't achieve a great deal because it's so long after the fact.
I'm seeing if I can find the Torgan Hazard picture to show you. Look!
I think you've.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's not the best angle. Really not the best angle. He's straddling that seat. That's not.
I know it's International Week, but there's no need for that.
That's.
Torgan Hazard just taking it to another level.
That's. Okay. All right, Torgan.
Jules, why doesn't Gab wear jerseys like you do on your show? Help him out.
That's.
It's a good question. I'll mention it to him. But he likes. He's got a few things for the show that comes back quite regularly. So I think he likes that routine. I'm not sure if he want to go to the shop, pick like 8-9 shirts like I do, and then pick them for the show. I think he's quite conservative for a lot of things. So I think he likes the outfit that he's got already lined up quite regularly for the show.
Does he still have that jacket with 1 million pockets on, Jules?
Oh yes.
So obviously in Qatar we saw it for sure. He was not in Australia or New Zealand for the Women's World Cup because, as we know. So I'll tell you in Germany in this summer to see if he has it. But I think he will be back. He will be back out.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the use of it is, and it starts to get quite old, by the way. But yeah, the famous jacket would be there.
I think it's
the fishing vest, right?
Yeah.
Vest.
Yeah. That has.
I think it's safe to say that if you empty the whole entire contents of both Gab and Stevie's wardrobe, there is not one garment.
You want like an old Philadelphia Eagles t-shirt?
There is not one garment that anybody who's got even a 10% sense of any fashion would touch. I think that's a safe assumption.
Speaking of the Eagles, with the NFL season kicking off today, Ali, who is your realistic picks to go to the Super Bowl? It won't be the Cowboys. How will you host the Cowboys this season? Obviously,
Well, as they are every year. You listen to everybody and they say this is the year. This is the problem with being a Cowboys fan. There's a lot of coverage on the Cowboys because they're a big brand, right?
Yes.
And so we talk about Dak Prescott.
Is he fit?
Apparently he is.
Okay.
Okay. This guy and that guy, and the defense is better, and we re-signed that guy, and whoa, it's all structure.
Right.
It's now, this is the moment, this is the year. And then guess what happens? We'll sneak into the playoff at some point, maybe lose on wild card weekend. If not, we'll lose in the division. And that's it.
That'll be done.
And you get my hopes up because then by the end of the season, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And then back to reality, Dak Prescott throws an interception and we're done.
Who wins it?
Well, not the Cowboys.
Chiefs?
Well, that's a safe bet, yeah.
Yeah.
How about the Jets?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers back?
Oh, well, it would be a great story.
Hey,
What?
Hey, the Jets.
What?
Hey.
Oh, is that his
Yeah.
him, is it?
No, well,
the
Buffalo
Jets.
Bills?
Oh,
Bills could
I wait to the playoffs, then I just come in like a blaze, watch it all.
like a what?
I
blaze.
wait to the playoffs. I mean, at
Like a blaze.
the early stages of the season,
That's expression.
the early stages, when the NFL's in its infancy, I'm very much a repeat of Con Air on AMC.
Put Con Air on.
Standard, Green Mile,
Nick Cave.
maybe a bit of The Rock with Big Sean.
Nice, there you are.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You know, I'm just, I haven't got time for all the rest.
I ain't got time. Need to watch some movies again. Jules, who's your football team? Do you have one?
Yeah, the Giants are. But I don't say
Are
it
they
too
playing the
loudly.
Cowboys this weekend?
I think
They're playing the
Chiefs-
Cowboys this weekend, yes.
Oh.
They're playing, indeed, yeah. But yeah, a bit Patrick Mahomes fan as well, so I like the
So have the, right, random question. Rodgers has gone to the Jets, right?
Yes.
Few quid, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of money.
Not gone there for the to grow the game, clearly.
Grow the game.
Jordan Henderson, grow the game.
They actually took a pay
we
cut
need
to go to
to
the Jets.
grow this game in New York.
It does need growing in New York because both the Giants and Jets win absolutely nothing now.
Oh,
Right?
God.
That's me, I can't go to New York now.
Muppets.
Have they strengthened around Rodgers? I don't know why am I even asking this?
Yeah. They have a very good defense. They had a very good defense to begin with, and they have pieces around Aaron Rodgers.
Because he's a bit touchy. isn't
Dalvin
he?
Cook.
If he doesn't,
Yeah.
he's a bit. He's a bit touchy if he doesn't.
Yeah, he's not full of giggles.
Well, he will be. Right. Anyway, this programme's upside down today.
Okay, that's it. We're done. That brings us to the end for today's show. We will be back. Well, Craig's got his big golf tournament this
Oh,
weekend.
yes. Good luck, Craig.
Good. 3 days off. Stick that up your
good
jumper.
Have your jumper. I'm off for the week as well.
Oh, excellent.
Kay's off. Seb's here. Seb's here.
Oh, yes. The Seb experience.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.